Hey ladies, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about learning to love yourself again. If you follow me on Instagram, BB Women's Wellness, you might have seen my recent post on change. And I did a photo of myself from November 2nd until yesterday. And there was just a teeny little bit of change. And I noted in there about beginning change. You got to learn to love yourself while you're embracing your change. And it's really, really important. So I thought I would go a little bit deeper on the post today. I'm going to give you my 3 top tips to learning to love yourself. It can be super hard, so please don't beat yourself up if you end up falling back to step 1. I have had a chock-a-block day. If you're a mum or if you're someone who works in school, you'll know what I mean. Like, it's back to school day 2 and I'm already just like caffeinated and someone help me. I need a personal assistant. Like, that would just be, you know what I was thinking? I would love if I had like an Uber driver who could drive me everywhere and I could just work while they drive me from my destinations, and then I could do like obviously my work at my destinations. Oh, wouldn't that be the life? Self-automated cars. Today, we're going to talk about how to learn to love yourself. First up, I just want to touch base again and just go through what I've been through quickly, and to help you understand why I want to share this with everyone. 4 years ago, I was diagnosed with chronic fatigue, glandular fever and pneumonia all in one. I also had chronic depression at the time, and by that I mean it was severe. I chose not to medicate myself for that. I did have to take lots of medication for my glandular fever and my chronic fatigue to try and help my body recover from it. There's nothing you can do about chronic fatigue, but I have managed to pull my body out of it. It's taken a very long time to get there. And when all of this happened, you know, I was the fittest I'd ever been. I got sick, my body blew out, it stopped working, and I ended up putting on nearly 15 kilos, and I just blew up. Like, my body just like went poof, and it blew up. And it was horrible. Chronic depression, I just had nothing for life anymore. Like, I just looked at myself and I hated everything about myself. I had come out of what I didn't know at the time. I thought I was happy at the time, but then I just come out of a very narcissistic relationship, and I was like, I just had his voice in my head all the time telling me that I wasn't good enough and that I was fat and that I was just this horrible person. When it first happened, I was at the absolute lowest point of my life, like lower than anyone can ever begin to imagine. I had nothing and I was huge and I hated myself. I absolutely hated myself. I find it very easy to talk about this now. A lot of people still don't find it easy, and I put that down to the fact that I've fully healed myself from where I was to where I am now. So weirdly enough, at the time, I just thought, fuck it. I need to be comfortable in my body right now. I just need to find a way to love this body. And I was like, you know, I thought on that for a few weeks, and I was like, how the hell am I supposed to love this body? Like, I was riddled with cellulite. I still have a lot of cellulite now, but it was like so much worse then than it is now. And like, oh, I can't even begin to explain it. Like, my arms were probably 3 times the size. Like, I wouldn't have fit into this shirt. There's no way that would have happened. I would have been bulging out the sides here. I have very broad shoulders as it is, so when I put weight on, I get very big up the top. My arms were just really big, and I hated them. That was one of the biggest things that I hated about my body was my arms. My waist was super big at the time as well, and I've always had quite a wide waist, so I never really noticed that too much until afterwards. But my legs, I've always had like very slim legs, and I've always loved my legs, but my legs, they just blew up. Like, they were huge. So I went from a size 10 right up to a size 16, I think, or plus 16. So it's quite a big jump for me. Like, I've always had problems with my body because of my ovaries and my hormones. But after all that happened, it was like, it was worse. So it was like my liver wasn't working, my kidneys probably weren't working properly. It was like my hormones were sticking around in my body, and everything was just hanging around and just fat. There's no other word to describe me at the time. Fat, depressed, unhealthy, fat. My first top tip is stop looking in mirrors. Oh, God, you guys are going to be like, what? Girl, how am I supposed to know what I look like when I get dressed? Who cares? No one but you should care about what your body looks like. And right now, we need to completely take that step away from you and be like, what your body looks like is simply what your body looks like. Every time you look in that mirror, you either subconsciously or consciously, most likely consciously, pick yourself apart, most likely subconsciously as well. So every time you walk past the window and look at yourself, you look into a mirror and you look at yourself, you go and buy clothes and you look at yourself, you will instantly judge your own body. I hate my legs. I hate my arms. God, why do my hips have to be so big? Why is my ass so flat? Or why is my ass so big? Why don't I have an hour-shaped glass waist? Why is my waist so square? Why are my shoulders so big? Why am I so tall? Why am I so short? We judge ourselves and then we hate ourselves. And as soon as we put those words into our head, whether it be a thought, whether it be verbal, we change our subconscious programming. I'm going to get to that in a later video. Stop looking in mirrors. You need to appreciate your body for what it is now. You can start to work on your mental health and you can start to work on your internal health, your nutrition, and you can slowly integrate some fitness into that, but it's not going to change your body overnight. You're still going to look that way tomorrow. You're still going to look that way in 2 weeks' time. All you're going to do is rewire your subconscious programming to tell you that you are unworthy, you don't look good, the clothes are never going to fit you properly, and that your body is just not good enough for what you want in this life. When we talk negatively to ourselves, as much as you think it's woohoo, waha, whatever, it is how it happens. Once we talk negatively to ourselves, we put that into our body and our body takes it on as chronic stress. You tell yourself every single day for the next 8 weeks that you hate yourself, that you're ugly, that you're not worthy of anything. If that goes into your body and you then reflect that onto your own life, into your reality, which means that's what you're going to attract to you. So you need to stop doing that. And the best way to do that is to stop comparing yourself by looking in mirrors. Yeah, you can look in mirrors when you're ready for it, when you're readily able to stand there and look in your mirror and be like, you know what, I absolutely love my arms. I love my legs. Yeah, sure, they have a few dimples on them, but you know what? I still am so happy that I have them. You can tell me that you don't talk negatively to yourself, but I can probably tell you that you whisper it in your head more than 100 times a day. Doing that forces that stress back into your body and also forces your self-worth to go down. My top tip number 2, positive affirmations no less than 20 times a day. I remember when I started this, I was probably like maybe 3 or 4 months into doing my best to not look in mirrors. Put your makeup on and off we go. Get dressed, have a quick look at what you look like. Sweet, I'm off. I feel comfortable. Whether or not I look good, that's a different story. And that's a different story that nobody else but you need to worry about, because you feel comfortable in the clothes that you're in. When I got to that stage of, okay, I'm ready for my next step, I started to look at what body parts I really had an issue with. And as I said, they were my arms. Like I hated my arms so much. And up here, like I've got this little bit of fat here, and it was a lot bigger at the time, obviously, and it was a really unsightly as well. I have very pale skin and I have red tone through my skin, so if I'm not in the sun and if I stack a whole heap of weight on, it does become quite unsightly. Like I don't think it looks very good. And so at the time I was just like, oh my gosh, I look horrendous. I walk up to a mirror, and this is when you're ready to start your positive affirmations, and I take a look at myself and be like, those thoughts would come flooding back in my head, and I would stand there and say out loud to myself whatever positive affirmation I'd written down at the time, and I would say it to myself 20 times. There was a fight going on between me and the mirror, because it was, you know, your subconscious or you even your conscious, like it can be conscious level, going, you are so ugly, and then you would fight back with that affirmation, no, I'm not listening, and I am happy with how I look, and I love my arms because I'm so grateful that I have my arms still attached to my body. I'm also grateful that they still work properly for me. And you fight back with that affirmation. And a lot of you will have a really hard time because you will honestly be like, I love myself, and then part of you will be like, no, you don't. That is fine. Just keep pushing forward with your positive affirmations. You will probably break down in tears a couple of times as well, and that's fine as well. Don't ever suppress your emotions. We just need to let them out when they're ready to come out. We need to, it's really healthy. If we're suppressing our emotions, they're going to have to come out one way or another. They're going to fill up into a ball into your stomach, and the more you say no and push things away, or the more hate you put into your body, it will grow, and then eventually it needs to come out somehow. So if you're sitting there trying to do your positive affirmations each day and you feel really emotional, just cry it out, because I can tell you now you're going to feel 100% better. Top tip number 3. Be comfortable in how you dress, but don't aim to please other people. So this takes me back to the mirror. When I say you got to stop looking in the mirror and judging yourself, it's the same as clothes. I find that a lot of people try to dress to impress. Other people are not your main focus. You are your own focus right now. And when it comes to dressing, it can be really daunting for women who have curvier bodies to feel comfortable around other people in fashionable clothes. I struggled with this again when I was growing up. I had a really horrible time with my body when I was growing up. I hated my teen years. Like, I couldn't wait to be older. I was like, fuck, I just want to be in my late 20s to my 30s, because I knew it was going to be the best time of my life. And it is. I hated my body as a teenager. I was like really tall, still am. Fuck, everyone only ever came up to like my boobs, and I was just like that freak at school. I developed really quickly. Obviously, because I developed really quickly, I hit cellulite really quickly. I remember being in my squad days, so I was a swimmer as well. I remember being in my squad days, and I think I was only like 9 or 10 when I noticed it, but I had really hectic cellulite over my stomach. Still do. Nothing's changed there. I developed really quickly, and I got my period super early. I had PCOS, and I think they said that I had a small amount of endometriosis. I don't think I have endometriosis anymore. I definitely have PCOS. That obviously, you know, having a period so early, having hormones just fucking everywhere, my body didn't cope with it. And something that I probably didn't know about at the time would be that my liver wasn't functioning 100%, so I wasn't flushing those hormones out of my body correctly, which led to me really hating my body at a very young age. You know, or the girls I would hang out with, they would always dress with the most fashionable clothing, and fashionable clothing in me never worked, because I was so tall, and clothes back then, they're a little bit better now, but back then didn't fit people like me. Jeans would always be about this much too short for me. My hips are really wide, but my legs come down really narrow. And so finding jeans where I could have skinny legs and really wide hips was like mission impossible. So jeans never fit me properly either, and they were so uncomfortable, and then I just couldn't move in them, so I could never wear jeans. I freaking hated them so much. Dresses, I was really round on my stomach, like it was always quite pudgy. I never had a small waistline, so that was really hard for me as a teenager, because, you know, all my friends were super skinny, and they were like a nice height, they weren't tall like me, and they just looked amazing. And then there was me, who was like this really socially awkward, kind of fat, but really tall teenager with terrible skin. That didn't help either. And then obviously I was just like, fuck it, I'm so different to the other people. So I kind of rocked it in my late teenage years, but then obviously progressing into my early 20s, I found it really difficult again. And then when everything happened, I just thought, fuck it. I don't care anymore. I don't care what other people think about me anymore. I'm done with their opinions. And I'm going to dress the way I want to dress. And to this day, I'm such a grub. Like, if you are my client, you'll know what I mean. Like, I don't wear cool clothes, and I'm not even sorry, because I'm really comfortable in how I dress, like grub. And I don't need to impress anybody around me. Probably this is why I'm still single. And I don't feel the need to do it. And you know what? That has helped my mental health immensely. And it has helped me look at my body so much more positively than if I was to force myself into trying to buy expensive clothes to try and impress other people. Like, there's no need for it right now. When I'm ready to start trying to be fashionable, if I'm ever going to be ready, or when I'm ready to start trying to wear clothes that make me look half decent, it's probably never going to happen, because A, I think that we have too much consumption for clothing anyway, and it's too bad for the environment, and B, I don't like to spend money on clothes, and C, fuck fashion. Find the clothes that you are comfortable in. If you're comfortable in a pair of tights and a jumper and some slides and socks, me all through winter. That is my style. Wear it, rock it. Who cares what other people think? That's their opinion. People only ever see you as deeply as they see themselves. That is the most important quote that you need to understand. Nobody can ever connect with you on a level that they haven't quite yet reached. Just remember that. I hope that helps you. So tip number 1 is stop looking in mirrors. You don't need to judge yourself on a daily basis. You need to learn to love yourself. Tip number 2, no less than 20 affirmations on positivity into your head every day. And tip number 3 is rock those clothes that may not be fashionable but make you feel comfortable.